I had a
hey.
technical... Hey, I'm back.
Oh, hey, it's glad to have you back, Nero. I was worried. I didn't know what was going on for a minute. Well, you do know that we do have people can call in now. Did you hear that bit before something happened and you got lost?
No. Skype crapped out. So we had a technical difficulty. But I'm back.
Yeah. That's what I was explaining to the people is a technical difficulty, and Nero's gone. But okay, yeah. What were you about to say?
Oh, I was just going to say carry on with whatever you were saying because I lost the last 10 minutes or so of the conversation.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I was just about done, but I was just going to say is like, in closing, I want to say for you people out there who are devil worshippers, who are traditional Satanists, who think LaVey is total shit, if you haven't actually read the Satanic Bible for yourself, and when you pick one up nowadays, there's an intro about Peter Gilmore. It used to not always be in there. Remember, Peter Gilmore has not been part of the Church of Satan when that book was written. That introduction is bullshit. It will make you mad, so just don't worry about it. I mean, read it just to see how much of an asshole Peter Gilmore can be, but don't hate the book because of the intro. Go ahead, read the Satanic Bible for yourself, make up for yourself about that philosophy. And like I was saying before, is without LaVey, a lot of you people out there, traditional Satanists, the philosophy of life, your outlook on life, most of it does come from LaVey, whether you know it does or not. And if your minister or your high priest or your grand poobah, whatever he talks about life, if he says it doesn't come from LaVey, 90% chance he's full of shit. Because the thing is the basic idea of the Satanic Bible, I have a hard time believing that if you sit down and read it for yourself, that, okay, there might be 20% of the book you don't agree with. But in general, if you don't agree with what that book says about life, about sexuality, about vengeance, about your dealings with other people, if you don't agree with that, I don't get you. I just don't. That's what I got to say.
Yeah, I just want to add something, and I don't know exactly what all you've said, but I think I heard you. I came in at the tail end where you were saying, it gives you a philosophy to live by, and I was a Satanist before I ever read the Satanic Bible. I just want to use this as a story to tell people. When I got into Satanism, I was 12 years old. I didn't know anything about ritual. I didn't even know the first thing about how to do any kind of ritual. So what I did was I lowered my head while looking at a picture that reminded me of Satan, and I prayed. And I asked for help, and I asked Satan if he existed to prove it to me. I didn't have any idea of how to live my life or anything like that, because in the medieval grimoires never talk about how to live your day-to-day life. They never talk about stuff like that. So LaVey was the first one to really put down a philosophy by which you could live by, and like I said, we're not trying to turn this into a lay fan club or anything, because I'm a traditional Satanist. I'm a diehard traditional Satanist, but you have to give the man credit for what he did. And I think as time's gone on, I realized that none of us would be here without him, because had I not read the Satanic Bible and had something to live my life by, I might have just who knows what would have happened. I probably would have got depressed and said, well, there's not many Satanists out there like me, so I'll just give up. Who knows what would have happened? But I know I wouldn't be here without LaVey.
Well, yeah, something else I want to add to that too, though, is it has a good point. Is look, this show in general is not all about LaVey. I mean the show in the long run. This particular show, the first episode that we're doing right now, we wanted to do the LaVey thing. This first episode has been largely about LaVey because we planned it that way. But if you're someone who doesn't want to hear about LaVey, rest assured, this series, this whole No Apologies Satanism Podcast is not going to be something that's going to be about LaVey all the time. That is just, we decided that to be the topic in general for this first show because we felt it was important to bring up for the first show because it's something that has been disturbing me and Nero for a while because we have seen multiple times of traditional Satanists saying online that they hate everything about the Satanic Bible itself from beginning till end, that the entire book is worthless. And maybe we're just a little old school in our thinking. Maybe we can't relate to some of the ideas of these forms of Satanism that are based completely or mostly on black metal lyrics and stuff than they are on books. Maybe we can't relate to that. I don't know. But we felt it was important to show that, yeah, LaVey became a dickhead. LaVey died a dickhead. Don't get us wrong. LaVey died an asshole. LaVey died a dickhead. LaVey turned his back on Satan. We're not saying he didn't. We just really feel that the original ideas of LaVey, the things that he used to write, the things he did in the 60s, the things he did in the early 70s, should not be shunned and ignored by the traditional Satanic community, because if they are completely shunned and ignored, it's going to lead all of us down a bad path.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to,
I agree with that. And you know, the thing is, I mean, what I see, like I said, and I'll say this again, I said it earlier in the show, what I see is a lot of people who go, I'm a Satanist, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to worship Satan. I don't know where to go. I don't have a plan or a path to follow. Well, that's why I've always said since the early days with Home, for those of you who don't know, that was the first religious organization I founded in 1992 with a friend of mine. I said, you know, the Satanic Bible should be used as a primer and as a way to help you, if you're a new Satanist, you know, understand the basic philosophy and how to live your life. I've always said that, and it's because if you come into Satanism and you totally ignore LaVey, what you're left with, well, now because of Luke, it's not so much the case, but back in my day, before the internet, you didn't have anywhere to go. You didn't have anyone to guide you. That was it. The Satanic Bible was it. There was, even if there was other books on the history of Satanism, they didn't teach you how to live your life on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, they gave you rituals and they gave you ideas of, you know, basic idea of what Satan represented, but they didn't give you a philosophy by which you could live your day-to-day life and you know, raise a family on. They didn't give you that. So if you didn't have LaVey, you really were lost. You kind of had to make it up as you went along, you know, and that's just the reality of it.
And that's the thing, is what a lot of these people who don't use the Satanic Bible anymore, they do just make it up as they go along. And, man, more often, they make up silly shit as they go along. I don't mean to offend anybody listening, but those people out there who don't read LaVey, don't read Crowley, don't, you know, really to be honest, mainly LaVey and Crowley. Look, I'll just go ahead and say it. Is that if you don't read LaVey and Crowley, if you don't have any understanding of them, and your entire thing to try to tell someone else what the philosophy of Satanism is, you know it comes out your ass. You know damn well it does. And I just want you to think about that for a minute. I just really want you to think about it. Just think that if you have ignored LaVey completely, and I'm not saying that you have to like LaVey, I'm saying, but if you ignored him, never read his works, you've never read Crowley's Liber Oz, you've never read Crowley's thoughts about life and how to live, never read LaVey's thoughts about life and how to live, if you've never read those, or if you did read them and you hated them, I would be real curious as to what it is you think a Satanist lifestyle is. And I think you need to think about that. And if you're someone who's a follower, of someone like that, you need to really go do your research and then think about who you're listening to. I just have to say that. I don't care if it sounds mean. I just have to say it because it's the damn truth.
Yeah, the thing is, like I said, the intention of this show is not to offend people who believe differently than we do. It's just, after years and years of seeing people say bad stuff about LaVey, which I used to do myself. But as I've studied more, as I've read more, as I've looked into history, I'm not bitter about LaVey. I think he, in my opinion, he disrespected Satan. This is my opinion at the end of his life. But he did a lot for Satanism. And for that, we have to acknowledge him. And I get upset when people totally ignore that part of the history of Satanism. Because without that history, for those of us who have the Al-Jawa as part of our religious text and believe it's sacred, we wouldn't even know about the Al-Jawa if it wasn't for LaVey. Let's face it, some people might if they were really, really heavily into research and they were really heavily into researching Satanism, but most of us weren't. The only reason we know about the Al-Jawa is because LaVey put it in the Satanic rituals. And that's the truth. So if for no other reason, you should respect him for that. If for no other reason.
Yeah, that is a very good point. That is a very good point because, the Al-Jawa, LaVey put in the Satanic rituals, and someone who might be listening right now may say, yeah, but LaVey's Al-Jawa is a cut-up, edited version. But you know what? You wouldn't even know there was an Al-Jawa that existed at all. Even in edited form. You wouldn't have known about it. You know damn well you wouldn't have. If it hadn't been for LaVey putting in the Satanic rituals. Because the book he got it from, Isaiah Joseph's Devil Worship, from 1919, it's not like that book's a bestseller. It's not like it's even still in print. That book is an ancient, dead book. Okay, it may be in print again nowadays because of the Internet. But that's the important part to remember. LaVey did this stuff before the Internet. And it's like, that. I think a lot of these people are out of touch with the time frame of history. LaVey was before the Internet. LaVey was before the fight between traditionalists and modernists. LaVey lived in a time when a Satanist was a Satanist. And one thing I don't think we've mentioned yet, but I got to mention also about LaVey, is LaVey said this in an interview, and you could hear it on our Facebook page. If you go type in No Apologies Satanism Podcast, type it into Google or whatever, you'll find our Facebook page immediately. It'll be probably the first damn thing that comes up. There's no way it wouldn't be. You go find it, scroll down, or you can go to YouTube and type in LaVey interview, and you'll see a picture of LaVey, of him, just a black and white picture of him with his bald head, wearing a pentagram, and it'll say something about rare interview or early interview, something like that. But the point is, LaVey himself, you can hear it from the dead man's own mouth.
He defines Satanism. Yes, that's what it's called. LaVey defines Satanism, part 1 and 2.
Yeah, exactly. LaVey defines Satanism. And what LaVey says is that, in the Church of Satan, we do consider him a symbol or an archetype. And don't get pissed at me if I'm not saying the exact quote, but I'm saying exactly what he meant. I'm paraphrasing here, guys. The thing is that LaVey says, in the Church of Satan, generally, he's considered to be a symbol, an archetype, or whatever. But he also makes it very, very clear that we certainly do not discourage our members from believing that Satan is a real, literal being. Because if that's what they need for their religious fulfillment, that's what they need. And that's the thing I want all of you out there who are traditionalists to remember, is the way the Church of Satan is now, to where they use terms like atheism, we just worship ourselves and we don't allow people to believe Satan's real. Yeah, that may be the Church of Satan. The Church of Satan may do shithead stuff like that. But don't blame LaVey for it.